Hi, my name is Bobby Green, and the title of my paper is Art Relevant Properties, Art versus Artifact, and Learning Art versus Artwork. My paper started with my consideration of sand mandalas and whether sand mandalas are art or artifact, and whether or not the location of its creation affects its value as art. So I thought about mandalas that are created in Tibetan temples versus Western museums as part of an instructional piece. So does that make a difference whether the mandala is considered art or not? So I had to consider the aesthetic design, the intent behind its creation, and also the art relevant properties it holds. So here's a list of the art relevant properties that Stephen Davies listed in his text. These come from a British philosopher, Barry Scott, and I found that the sand mandalas exhibited most, if not all, of these qualities. So this also got me thinking about the identity of artwork because sand mandalas are so transient in their existence. They are created to be destroyed. So does their identity make a difference? So Stephen Davies talked about originals versus tokens and how we are concerned more with the original of an artwork. For instance, the Mona Lisa. So many of us are drawn to going to see the original Mona Lisa because there is something about the essence of that work that speaks to us in a different way than just a photograph or a print of that work. So too, considering the sand mandalas, is it more of an experience? Does it make it more of an artwork, seeing it in person, seeing the creation of it by the monks with the sand and all of the grains finding their place in the geometric design of the mandala? Does that make it more artwork than just a photograph of that same mandala? So this got me thinking about artwork that's created in classrooms. Monks have to study for many years before they are allowed to participate in the creation of sand mandalas. And students must study various types of art, design, skill, history before they can really create a piece of artwork. Many of my teacher friends who teach art or dance or music refer to this as learning art. So I wanted to explore this more. And as an English language arts teacher, I thought about the learning art in my own classroom, for instance, with the creation of poetry. I teach my students the concept of poetry, the structure of it, the rhyme schemes, all of that, and they copy that form, and then one day, hopefully, they will create their own style, their own forms of poetry. And this is why we teach art and design in the classroom this way, to give them an example that they might follow and then create their own through the skills that they've learned. So I thought a lot about this, and also thinking about my classroom in the STEM Academy that I taught in. John Dewey refers to art as a process, and he was very in tune with what we would describe these days in education as growth mindset, the opportunity for someone to stick with the process of something before they can master it. I also thought more about Da Vinci. I mentioned the Mona Lisa, and how he combined so many different disciplines in the art that he created. So in our STEM classrooms, we ask the students to abide by the engineering and design process, where they have to start by imagining and brainstorming, creating, and then going back and seeing what worked or didn't work, and then recreating through the iteration process. So the idea that the students are creating these artifacts and that there is a certain amount of artistry that goes into it. And then one day when the students become masters of what they're trying to do, there is a certain amount of creativity that goes into what they are doing. So in the end, what I found was that considering studying and creating artwork has an intrinsic value as a source of pleasure and as a source of education. So while all art can be considered artifact, not all artifact should be considered art.